All right, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor. Thoughts and impressions. Mayweather wins by way of 10th round TKO. He improves to 50-0. He says he's finished with his boxing career and he is now TBE. Thoughts and impressions. Coming into this fight, I thought it was going to be a disaster because Floyd Mayweather's last two fights with Pacquiao and Berto were boring, unentertaining snooze fests. And being that Conor McGregor has no boxing experience, I thought this had all the makings of a farce. And I thought most people thought that too. But I was pleasantly surprised. This was an action-packed, entertaining fight to watch. And I think two main reasons for that was one, Conor McGregor has a lot more boxing acumen than we gave him credit for, and two, Floyd Mayweather's physical skills have eroded more than we thought they would. He is 40 years old after all, and with those two elements thrown into the mix, you had an entertaining fight. I thought Conor McGregor gave a great account of himself. He won, in my opinion, I thought he definitely won the first 3 rounds. And he did so by pumping the right-handed jab. And he switched stances to an orthodox style a couple of times. And he looked very fluid doing it. I didn't think that he could do something like that. And he had success. He had success with that. I thought that his awkward, weird-looking style kind of took Mayweather a few rounds to figure it out. Eventually, I thought McGregor ran out of gas, especially in rounds 8, 9, and 10, and that's when Floyd just poured it on. And that was that. You could probably dispute who won rounds 4, 5, and 6. You could say probably one or the other. But I'd say the last 3 rounds definitely went to Floyd, and the first 3 rounds definitely went to McGregor. And that's 3 more rounds than I thought he would win. I thought it was going to be a 12-round decision, and Mayweather would win every round 10-9. That's what I was expecting. A very, very boring fight, kind of like what we got out of the last 2 fights of his career. So, but I'm not a Floyd fan, but I got to give him credit in this sense. He did something that was totally alien to him and was still able to win. You know, he's usually this defensive-minded Philly shell fighter where he would do his shoulder roll and then he would counter with the straight right hand. He didn't even do that in this fight. Not even once I didn't see. And, you know, for an athlete to pull out a bag of tricks this late in his career, it reminded me of Kobe or Michael Jordan or Serena Williams or Muhammad Ali, in the sense of when these athletes age, they have to resort to other stuff to stay on top. And for this one singular moment, Floyd was able to do that. Of course, he cherry-picked his opponent. He picked a guy he knew he could beat. I don't think that he would have had success against a guy like Danny Garcia or Keith Thurman or some contender like that fighting this style. But for this one particular moment, he was able to get the job done. Using a physical style. Instead of doing his Philly shell and being a matador and pot-shotting from the outside, he would walk through shots in a peekaboo style and land his own counters whenever he saw the opportunity. And that was it. That was breaking news as far as I'm concerned. I didn't think he could do that. I also thought Mayweather benefited because McGregor, I thought, expended too much energy in the clinches, because usually when he's in a clinch, he's going to throw an elbow, he's going to knee somebody in the groin. So that kind of energy that he expended in the clinches caught up with him later in the rounds, whereas Floyd knew when to turn it on and when to turn it off. McGregor didn't really have that sixth sense of ring generalship, and because of that, he was very tired late in the fight. And also, not only was he visibly tired, but his shots were not powerful. even when he would land shots, they were easy to walk through because he was just so weary and gassed. And that's when Floyd poured it on. I want to end the video on this note. I think Floyd Mayweather needed a fight like this to cap off his career. He needed to close the show because in his last two fights he didn't do that. It was a boring snooze fest against Pacquiao, and the same was true in the Berto fight. And if you're a Floyd fan, I know exactly what you're going to say. A win is a win. Well, if you're going to tell me a win is a win, I'm going to tell you that you don't understand economics. The whole point of this fight, the only reason I think Floyd took this fight, was to make it up to the fans for those two lousy fights I just mentioned. And the pay-per-view numbers are more important than wins and losses in boxing. Because boxing is an individual sport. And it's not free to watch like the Patriots or the Warriors or the Yankees. You have to make fans interested enough to want to pay to watch you fight. Tom Brady doesn't have to get fans interested to pay to watch him throw touchdowns. Steph Curry doesn't have to. Steph Curry is not dependent on fans paying to see him drain a three-point shot. So this is a completely different animal than team sports, boxing. So my point is this: 4.6 million pay-per-view buys. That's the numbers that were calculated for the Pacquiao fight. 400,000 pay-per-view buys. That's the number that was calculated for the Berto fight. So obviously, based on those numbers, people were pissed off. People felt hoodwinked that the Pacquiao fight had very negative consequences for the next fight. Judging on how much Floyd loves money, the Berto fight wasn't even worth his time. To get 400,000 pay-per-view buys was a waste of time. And he knew that. Even though a win is a win, that Pacquiao fight was a major stain on his resume. And the box office numbers in his next fight against Berto proved such. And he needed to make this up. He needed to close the show. He needed to do something exciting for fans to remember. And yes, he cherry-picked. Yes, he got a guy in there with no experience. It's true. That's what happened. But at least he closed the show. And for that, I have to give him credit. That's all I really got to say about this whole fight. Hope you enjoyed the video. Comment, subscribe. I'll see you around.